What if every brush stroke could bring forests to life? What if color could preserve a species? But what if one artist born amidst the birdsong and banyans of Sri Lanka carried that wild spirit halfway across the world and back again? He's designed our national park logo, painted our postage stamps, illustrated our wildlife for generations, and filled galleries from Colombo to California with the soul of the natural world. Today, on Kaleidoscope Dialogues, we journey into the vivid, untamed universe of Gamini Ratnavira, Sri Lankan American wildlife artist, conservationist, and storyteller, whose brushes with nature remind us that art isn't just seen, it's felt, protected, and lived. How did your early life in Sri Lanka inspire your love for wildlife and influence your art actually today?
Since I was a kid and living in Kanana, in a boarding house there, it was the surroundings. I mean, how can you not? So my love for nature started there right at the beginning.
You're living between Sri Lanka and the US, and how has that shaped your artistic vision, your artistic idea?
I started the wildlife art in Sri Lanka as a Sri Lankan. I was very happy with myself and happy that I was able to share some. One of the things that helped me is I paint a wide variety of stuff, but my focus was on the rainforest and the tropical wildlife. So I immediately fell into a different category there because most of the artists who were there paint their local wildlife, but I had a wider range.
So you said you're a self-taught artist.
Yeah.
Now, how did you develop this very detailed style that you have?
Painting every day. Painting every day. One of the most important things that I found was not just painting came second to me, but the love of nature came first. And I'm so inquisitive about finding all the details. So when I look at a species or plant or bird, whatever it is, I look at the finer details. I look at their feet, how the toes are situated, colors of the eyes, things like that. So that detail, I kind of have quite a bit of a, now it's kind of deteriorating, but have a photographic memory. And that was also developed because when I was growing up, we didn't have TV, we didn't have cameras, we didn't have so what you absorb in the wild is the most important thing that you put in. So to share that, I had to really see deep into the subject.
What are some of the surprising finds you found?
One of the things I found was the sparrows, all the passerine birds, have 3 toes forward and 1 toe backward. Now the owls have 2 toes forward and 2 toes backwards. And then you take a parrot, they have 2 toes forward, 2 toes backward because they use it like a hand to feed on. But the owl is also another step forward because it can move 1 toe back or forward. So it can be 3 toes, 2 toes when they grab their prey. And so those are the things that really are important to me. And the color of the eyes, and the shape of the beak, and the reason for the shape of the beak, that the long, pointy, curved beak for the sunbirds to feed on the flowers, parrots a hook bill and dry. So those are little things. So everything counts when you're painting nature. You have to have those things very accurate. If you're going to share something, it has to have a purpose. And what I want to share is the lesson I learned from looking at something. So if I can share that with you in a non-teaching way, I'm teaching you. Then you look at the bird or the plant or whatever it is in a much more deeper look at it. It's not only just with your eyes, you're looking at it. It's like food. If you know the ingredients, also you taste the ingredients. So that was my focus.
How important is art in conservation?
When you take a book as a kid or as an adult, you look at the cover to see whether it's then that attracts you to read the book, right? So when you're using art as a subject of interest, the illustrations draw you in. I mean, if it is something that is intriguing, it can be depicted with art more than anything else.
So, what have your collaborations with Rohan Petiagoda and Madhuri De Silva actually taught you about art and environmental skills?
Yes. people like Rohan, who has really done deep studies and contributed so much to nature, so is Madhura. It brings me into that category where I am also a part of this collaboration of people who are willing to go forward and give up our time and our knowledge and my experience. I spend a lot of time in the wilds. So all that experience I have, I'm not a scientist, I'm not qualified in anything, but I have spent so much of time with animals, and my whole life was molded by nature. So I have now done the birds of Sri Lanka, the mammals of Sri Lanka, just finished the freshwater fish of Sri Lanka, and hopefully next year I'll do the endemic birds and redo the birds of Sri Lanka. With Dr. Kotagama and all these people, we started the field ornithology group, and now it's gone so far, and all this younger generation is discovering new species. So it's rewarded me so much, and I just want to, till the day I die, I want to keep on doing that.
How has your art evolved from the time that you started, and then what are we seeing now?
I never stop learning. Every day I paint, I learn something. And in order to do that, if I'm not traveling or doing something like this, every morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm at my easel and I'm painting something. Every day I like to put the paintbrush on the canvas or the paper or whatever. So it's practice. It's practice, and practice, and I'm learning how to blend colors. I'm learning about colors because I had no education in art, absolutely nothing. So, what better way to learn from other than nature? And also I study the feathers. Like for instance, if you take a bird with blue feathers, in real life there's no blue feathers. There's no green feathers. It's a structure of the feather that refracts a certain pigment into the cornea of our eyes and how we pick it up. So then I learned how to recreate that. So my method is from dark to light instead of light to dark like most artists do. So sometimes they don't consider me an artist because I paint what I see, and someone else want to create that. And so in order to do something like that with nature, you have to study nature. So that's been my journey right from the beginning.
Which brings me to my next question. What challenges and joys do you have or get when in painting Sri Lanka's biodiversity with such authenticity?
It's not a challenge, it's a pleasure because I've grown in it and I lived in it, and now there's so much studies I have done and I've learned from everybody. Not that I don't learn from anybody. Every day I learn from anybody and anything, but most importantly, I learn from nature. So the challenge is to put it out there and express the feelings of the species instead of just making it a flat illustration. The challenge is to give life to my painting. So in order to do that, I study a lot about the environment, the features, the environment of the species that lives in that, the atmosphere, the light, the time, like what times are these animals more. So I try to bring the whole picture and create a window to nature. Sri Lanka amazes me all the time because we are having a lot of changes, where some species that were only found in the hills are now found in the local Colombo area. But it's still the adoption of the species for survival is a very, very uplifting situation. Even, man finds it difficult to adjust ourselves. Animals somehow work it out, and I'm very optimistic about that.
What would have been the most challenging animal or part of biodiversity that you painted?
Before I paint the animal or bird or insect, I paint everything, is learning about it. And that's the challenge. And there was so little information when I started as a child. So my challenge was to go and find the reasons and the excuses for a species to survive in certain environments. So now when I paint, most of the time these things are still in my mind, and I can paint something I saw 50 years ago. 50 years ago, I was walking in Horton Plains and I came upon on my feet, on my footpath, a black leopard. It was not even recognized it was recognized, but they said it's no longer found in Sri Lanka. Here I am, 6 feet away from this black leopard. I'm not a scientist, so I didn't make a big issue about it. Now we are finding them all over the place, right? So it's like that. So what I did was I just sat on the ground, she sat on the ground, we looked at each other. My looking at her was I was observing her claws, her face, her structure, and actually to be figuring out whether it's a male or female. It was about 10 minutes, but she got up and walked away. I walked the other way. So those are the things that I can remember, and I want to depict that in my painting so somebody else or anybody, doesn't matter where it is in the world, could appreciate that. And also, if you appreciate it, you're going to protect it.
Catch Kaleidoscope wherever you are, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram or LinkedIn. Follow, like and subscribe to stay in the loop for every story that matters.
You focus on your goals. We will take care of the risks. Silly Life.